Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Wow, good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. How is everyone? It's been a while. I was not here last week, and it's one of those things. So, how are you doing? How have you been? I hope you've been putting in the work to ensure that you are growing in this 2024. So, this is Growth Habits with Ngozi. Remember that I'm your personal guide on the journey of growth. So, who is here with me? Who is here today? Who is here? Who is here? Afternoon from the beautiful city of Port Harcourt in Nigeria. I don't know where you are joining me from or where you are watching from on the replay, but wherever you are joining me from, wherever you are watching from, you are welcome to Growth Habits with Ngozi. I am your personal guide, as I said, on the journey of growth. I don't just go on the journey with you. I don't just lead you on this journey. I actually do go on the journey with you. There's nothing that I speak about that I don't relate to myself. There's nothing that I speak about that I don't um, find a way to apply it in my own life. So I do go on this journey with you. Please do let me know if you can hear me. Let me just check quickly whether I am audible, because sometimes network and all that. So let me just be sure that I am audible. Let me make sure that I quickly whether I am audible. So let me just be sure that all right. So I'm audible. I can be heard. So, who is here with me? Do let me know that you are here. Let me know where you are joining me from. Let me know if this is your first time. Let me also know if you are a long time follower of Growth Habits. So, in this 2024, we decided to start the year by looking at some hindrances to growth, some things that will prevent us from growing, some things that will make us stand still. Remember that I said that it's not even about going backwards. Because when we are moving backwards, we know we are moving backwards. We can feel the backwards motion. The problem is when we are standing still. When we are not moving forward, we are not moving back. Most times, we don't even realize that we are in that stagnant position. We don't even realize that we are not moving. We are not making any progress. We might even be making some small movements, and it confuses us. It lulls us to be comfortable and not do anything about it. And that is the danger area. That is the danger zone. That place where you are just not making any progress. You're not moving forward. You're not moving backwards. You're not even moving sideways. You're just there. So we decided to look at some hindrances, some things that can prevent you from growing. In our first session in this series, we talked about fear, because I truly believe that the biggest hindrance is fear. The other somehow kind of stem from it is because you're afraid that maybe, you begin to tell yourself some things and all that. So, and we agree that fear is natural. It's normal. We need it. We need that fight or how do they say it? Flight or fight. I think that's what they call it. When they're in danger, you need fear to help you know that there is danger. I need to get out of here. So it's a natural emotion. It's a natural human experience. But when we now allow it to immobilize us, so that even in the face of that danger, we don't run, we don't escape. See, fear has immobilized you. Fear has caused you to not, be able to do what you need to do. And we said that, look, we can always overcome fear. And we can overcome it by identifying it. What are you afraid of? And why are you afraid of it? When we don't ask ourselves these questions most times, we just, I'm afraid. Why are you afraid? What really is making you afraid? So we agree that you need to identify your fears, not just to identify them, but to understand why you're feeling them. When you have this understanding, you can very much easier overcome the fear. And we also said that you need to reframe your mindset. So it's not just that, okay, I've identified why I'm afraid. I need to be able to tell myself a different story about me, about my abilities and all that. And we say you need to take small steps. There is no rush, really. Truly, there is no rush. Many times we are rushing to do this or that or the other. There is no rush, truly. There is really, really no rush. If we take time and slow down, we will find that a lot of times we achieve a whole lot more. So there is no need to rush through, oh, I have to achieve this or achieve the other. It's when things are so, in quote, big, really, that we get afraid and we don't do what we need to do. So take small steps. Take small steps. Then embrace failure. Embrace failure as part of growth. Not embracing failure in the way that you just keep on failing. No. See it as part of growth. See it as, okay, I found one way that doesn't work. So it helps you move forward. It helps you to grow, and then seek support when you need it. There is nothing wrong with asking for help. Many of us, we find it difficult asking for help, including me. I find it difficult to ask for help. Very, very difficult. It's a hard thing for me, but I'm working on it. So when you need help, seek that help. Seek for support when you need it. Maybe if it's the support of friends, family, look for it. If it's professional help you need, seek it out. There is absolutely nothing wrong with looking for help. Okay, so that was our session 49 when we spoke about fear. Session 50, which was a landmark session, but I think many of us were not even around for that session because I got the dates. Funny thing, I got the days mixed up. I thought the Friday, we couldn't hold it on Tuesday, so we postponed it to Friday. And I got the days mixed up in my head, and I thought the Friday has passed. Okay, it was when I spoke to my daughter about something we were supposed to do on Saturday that I realized that the Friday had not passed. So I quickly put up a notice for that session. That session was on negative self-belief. When we talked about fear, we said reframe your mindset. So that is where this one is connected. Negative self-beliefs. There are so many things we believe about ourselves, so many thoughts, so many statements we make about ourselves, so many images we have of ourselves that are not true. They're negative, yes, and they're not true. They're actually not true. But we don't know that they're not true. We are okay with it, and we move on with it because this is what we have always believed sometimes. This is what we have always been told sometimes. And we just continue our lives like that. And we find that these beliefs now overpower us and make us have a negative outlook and make us not want to do anything, really. So, and we agree that these things limit our potential. They limit our ability to do so much. All right. And we said that, we need to generally find the cause, just like with fear. Almost all the things we will discuss in this series of hindrances to growth, we need to look inwards and find out why is this a problem for us. That I'm afraid, and the reasons for me being afraid might not be the same for you. So you do need to sit down and find out why you're afraid. I had a discussion with someone on Sunday, and we were talking generally about this fear. She was like, "Oh, I watched your the session on fear, and it really helped me. It really helped me see one or two things." And I came to realize that we all are afraid, and mostly we're afraid of what will people say, or what if I fail. We're all afraid. And sometimes what is at the back of that fear is some negative self beliefs that we have had. Maybe we have been told as a child, "Oh, you never amount to anything." Or we have been told, "Oh, you don't have good skills in such and such area." And we believe that because that's what we have been told. We believe it and we live with it for years. It becomes our reality. It becomes our reality. But we can tell ourselves a different story. We can speak positively to ourselves. You know, this thing has been said too many times, really. People talk about confessions, affirmations. They work. They really do work. Maybe it takes time, and because of that, we don't think it works. But I am telling you that affirmations, confessions, they work. But see, one trick to it that works for me is saying it aloud. It's not just that I wrote confessions somewhere and every day I look at it. No, I have to say it out. I have to hear myself say it. I don't know about any other person. And that is what works for me. So when I write my confessions or when I write my affirmations, I do have to say them aloud. It's not enough. Like I have some I have on my bed, on the dresser beside my bed. Those ones, they are scriptures, and I have written them out. And I would wake up in the morning and look at them and say them in my mind. But the day I began to read them out and hear it with my ear, the scriptures began to make some kind of different sense. That was when I realized that for me, now, so this is why you need to sit down and figure out what is your own area, what is your own issue, why are you afraid, why do you have negative self-belief, or what we're going to talk about today, procrastination. Why do you procrastinate? Why do you put off what you should do? You do need to sit down yourself and figure it out, because what is my reason might not be your reason. It might not be. What put me in the situation of being afraid might not be what put you. Okay, so like I said, I always give an example with myself before we get to what we have today. Before I started this growth habits, it was such a big deal to kind of break from what I have known all my life, which is accounting, and get into mentorship. It was a big deal because in my head, one, what do you know that you're telling people? You understand? That was the first thing. What do you know that you're going to tell people? The second thought that came to my mind is, what will people think? You're a chartered accountant. You're a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. You are a past chairman of ICANN Port Harcourt. What will people say that you're doing on social media? You're not talking about accounting. You're not even talking about anything that has to do with, you're not even going near accounting whatsoever. What do you think you're doing? What will people think? What will people say? And these were the thoughts that ran through my head. But because I had somehow perfected to a good, let me not even use that word perfected. I've been working on telling myself a different story. I told myself the worst that will happen is that I will come up, do the session, and nobody watches it. What else will happen? Or people watch it and they make some snide remarks. It's not going to pass that. It's not going to pass that. There's nothing else that could possibly happen. Nobody is going to walk up to me and beat me. You understand? Nobody, even if they walk up to me and say something snide and say something nasty, all they did was say it. It doesn't have to stick. These are the things I told myself. And as I told myself these things, I said it aloud. I think if you can remember one of the times, I was welcome. Glad to have you here. If you remember one of the times I spoke, I told us about one of the jobs that I did. I had to keep telling myself, Ngozi, you know something. And I was saying it out loud. People were hearing me. I didn't care because for me, it wasn't a matter of people hearing me. I needed to hear me. So for me, what works is always to say it out so that I can hear it. And as I hear it, it just has a different effect on me. Okay, so that is our recap of what we have done in our past two sessions. We've talked about fear and we've talked about negative self-belief. Today, in our session today, we're going to talk about procrastination. Procrastination. And procrastination is really the name is so big. And many of us even spell it wrong, pronounce it wrong. It's such a big word. Procrastination. And what does it mean? It's just putting off what you should do now. You put it off to later. You just postpone it. Maybe to the last minute, you have a project that you need to submit. You have an assignment you need to submit. Instead of you to get to work now, you postpone it until the last minute. And then you start rushing and doing the whole big do just to make sure you meet up with your deadline. That is procrastination. And once again, we do need to ask ourselves, why do we put things off? Because it's not, I don't want to say it's not natural, but why not just do it? Why not? I mean, you can as well. It's not that we don't even have the time. Because many a times when we procrastinate, it's not that we don't have the time now to do this thing. It's just that we feel maybe we should do something else. Or we feel I can do it later. It's not a big deal. I can handle it later. So, procrastination, let me find that definition I saw. Say some researchers. Okay, yes, I've seen it. Say some researchers define procrastination as a form of self-regulation failure. Look at it. A form of self-regulation failure characterized by the irrational delay of tasks despite potentially negative consequences. You see that procrastination is not normal. It's not normal because you are delaying a task. They called it irrational delay because it makes no sense really. That thing you're putting off to do later, you can do it now. There is nothing really that prevents you from doing it now, but you choose not to. You choose not to. So it is an irrational delay of tasks, despite potentially negative consequences. So even as at the time you're putting off that task, you know that there might be some negative consequences attached, and yet you still put it off. That is procrastination, which is different from, I was so busy, I couldn't do this, I will do it later. They're two different things. So procrastination is not normal. I'm so sorry. It's an irrational act. They called it a self-regulation failure. So you are trying to regulate yourself because the idea is, okay, let me do this later and do something else now, right? You're trying to regulate, but you failed at it. When you procrastinate, you did not achieve the regulation. You did not achieve it. So we are told that there are two types of procrastination. I had to read up a little. And one is passive procrastination. The other is active procrastination. They said passive procrastination is you delay the task because you have trouble making decisions and acting on them. That is why you delayed the task. That is passive procrastination. And active procrastination is when you delay a task purposefully because working under pressure allows you to feel challenged and motivated. Now, just look at this now. Let's look at these two things. The first one, you delayed the task because you couldn't just decide. You are just in between, decisions. You didn't know what to do. So you shift that task. And the second one is that you're shifting the task because you get some kind of, or you think, let me use that word, you think you get some kind of, what's the word now? Pep from being challenged, because you're now under pressure. You think you feel challenged and motivated. You do not. That is false, 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 false. You are not challenged, you're not motivated, anything. You just postponed what you could have done now to later. And you've just put yourself under unnecessary pressure. There is a pressure that comes from, I am doing all, I'm supposed to do, and they're just too much. You get the buzz, yes, and they're just too much. That is different. But this one is that it's not as if you have too many things to do. You just think that if I leave this off and then do it at the last minute, I get this buzz of, oh, I'm achieving so much in such a short period of time. When you could have as well achieved exactly the same thing by doing it earlier. There is a buzz that comes from achieving something, full stop, from completing a task. That is also a buzz. So why change that one with this one that will make your BP go up, probably? Why exchange? Why take up the one that will increase your blood pressure when you could have gotten the same buzz and your blood pressure will be normal? So there is truly, procrastination does not help us in any way. It really doesn't. Because in the end, we wind up many a times, we wind up not even doing that task well. One, sometimes we don't even do it at all. We wind up not truly doing the task because we postponed it for too long. We kept it off till it was late. So no need to me, really, no need to procrastinate. Just get it done. Do it now if you can. Say some of the causes of procrastination. What makes us procrastinate is we often assume that the projects won't take long to finish when truly they will take. We miscalculate how long it will take us to complete a project or an assignment. And by putting it off, we now find out that, oh, I don't have enough time anymore. This could have been avoided once again. We could have started it today. Like, I think I always tell my children, if you're like, let's assume I'm traveling in 2 weeks' time, I begin to pack my bags today. Oh. My children, what is it not this trip you are going in 2 weeks' time? At least I bring out the box today. I begin to look at what will I go on this trip with. I begin to select the staying at home clothes. For example, if I find the bottom, I need to find the top to go with it. I just bring them all out. I've not actually started packing them in the bag, but I just bring them all out. By the time it's like a week to my trip, I can now sit down and select this top goes with this bottom. This goes with this. This is for staying at home. This is for going out. This is for sleeping. This is for exercising. And then I can pack them. Excuse me. But you find that if I had procrastinated and waited to maybe a week before, I would just throw things inside the bag because I'm just, in a hurry to make sure I have clothes and I'm ready for my trip. So, really, the first thing I said, that we underestimate how long some things will take us. And so we procrastinate thinking that, okay, I'll get it done. And by the time it's time to start this task, you find out that the time you kept is not enough. So you can overcome this particular cause of procrastination by sitting down and planning that task. Think about the task really consider all that it will take you to achieve it. This is now, maybe we are in an office environment and you're given a job to do. Truly sit down and consider, what will it take me to complete this task? What do I need to do? Is there any information I need from someone else? Or do I have all I need to complete this task? Is it all, available to me? When you do these assessments first, you can better gauge how long it will take you to complete that task. Because you see, sometimes we are given an assignment to do. We forget that part of that assignment, maybe someone is supposed to give you something for it. There's supposed to be an input from somewhere else. And you did not add that in your planning. And so you move the task. You delay it, I'll do it later. And then when you're ready, the other input is not ready. You see. So that is why that is a way to overcome procrastinating, because of not being able to assess the true time it will take us to, finish the task. Another thing that contributes to procrastination is the thought that we have to feel inspired, we have to feel motivated to work on a task at a particular moment. No, see, motivation. I don't want to say this, but see, this thing we're looking for motivation is a scam. Motivation is not what you need. You just need discipline. True. I'm not saying we shouldn't be motivated to do things. But when all you count on is motivation, you will wake up and there is no motivation. But if you have discipline, whether motivation is there or not, you will do the needful. So there is no need waiting for motivation to hit, for inspiration to hit. This instill the discipline that is needed to begin to work on the task at hand. So don't wait to feel inspired. Don't wait to be motivated to start your task. Develop the discipline needed to do something about that task at every point in time. Just start. Develop the discipline that's needed. Okay, the next thing that causes us to procrastinate many a times is that, how do I put this? We want immediate gratification. We want that feeling of immediate rewards and not long-term rewards. And because we want immediate rewards, yes, discipline and planning, very important. Because we want immediate rewards, we feel that, okay, if I put this thing off and then rush it and achieve it, I get the reward. But we forget that there is a reward that comes with, I broke this task into small bits, and then I was able to achieve those small bits, which add up to the whole. Honestly, see, this thing of breaking down tasks, I've been hearing it for years and I felt it's one of these things they talk about. There's a lot of things people talk about. I always say it's one of these things they talk about. Why do I have to sit down and begin to break my tasks down? Why can't I just hit it, bam, and face it? And in one of the places I worked, I had quite a big assignment to do. And I just wanted to hit it, just like I normally do, tackle it head on. And it just seemed too much. So I remembered this idea of breaking tasks down into smaller bits. I had to sit down and break down the task into smaller bits, into things I could handle each day, things I should have been able to finish after 1 week, like that. And when I did this like this and began to tackle those small, because they are now small, it's easier to achieve. And as I achieve this, I'll be like, oh, I've done this. See, the motivation for the next one comes. That motivation we are looking for, it comes. So breaking our tasks down into small bits will give us that same feeling of motivation we are looking for, that same feeling of gratification, that same feeling of rewards we are looking for, that makes us put off doing something now to do it later, so that we can rush it and say we achieved this big thing in such a short time. So break those tasks down into smaller bits. And as you achieve the smaller bits, you get the gratification, you get the rewards, you get to celebrate the little wins, and the little wins pile up to the big win. So please, instead of procrastinating, break your tasks down into smaller bits. It is possible. I remember one of the places I worked also, when I tried to, tell one of my colleagues to break her task. She was like, how do I break it down? I said, okay, look at your task, the whole thing. What will it take you to get from at this point where this task has been given to you to the end? What are the steps you need to take? So she took time, she worked out the steps. By the time she worked out those steps, I said, okay, now make each step a point. Make each step a task to achieve. So by the time you go from step 1 to step 2, this is a task. You achieve it, you move on. And she applied it and it worked. But before, she didn't even realize that there were steps that needed to be followed. She just felt, just like I used to do too, let me tackle this thing head on, get it done and finish. But when you begin to look at, okay, what steps do I really need to take to get from point A to point B, which is the end point? As you figure out those steps you would take, one, it helps you make your work more organized. It gives you a process to follow. And it also gives you a plan that you can pass on to somebody else. When somebody else wants to or has to do that same activity, there are steps for them to follow, if you are able to write those steps down. So that is a good way, or a quick way, to break down your tasks into small bits. You can even break it down to, what should I be able to do at the end of today, in order that by tomorrow I start the next task, in order that by the end of the week, or whenever my deadline is, I would have the complete work done. So these are the ways you can break down your tasks, and it will help you and prevent you from procrastinating. Like I said, procrastination, one, you have high blood pressure because you push things so far forward that you now become anxious in trying to achieve them. You start running helter-skelter just to ensure that you achieve those things. So break it down. What else do I want to talk about procrastination? How do we overcome it? Yes, let's look at I think I've even talked about some of it in giving my examples. I've given us some ideas how to overcome procrastination. Like, many people don't even see procrastination as a problem. Do you know? For a lot of people, it's not an issue. They're just like, I will get it done. I mean, I just need 3 hours and I'm done. And then when they start, they find out that it's a 6-hour job. It's not a 3-hour job. And they, rush and put it together. And the work you finally produce is not excellent. There are very few people, there are very few people who are able to knock out an excellent job in a very short time. There are very few. Most people that produce excellent work, they take time. They have a process. They have a system. They have step-by-step process to achieve that thing. So when you are looking at them, good afternoon, Kelechi, welcome. When you are looking at their output, you now think you can achieve that output in 3 hours. No. There is a process to be followed. Okay, so how can we overcome procrastination. There are different things we can do. Like I said, I've given us some examples. One definitely is to take small steps. Break down your tasks into smaller chunks. Break your tasks down into smaller chunks. It will help you get things done. And you would even have no need to move it to tomorrow or to move it to later because it's so small. You don't see it as a big deal. Most times when we move things forward, when we delay activities, when we delay tasks because we think it's too big to handle right now. But when you break them down into small bits, you will tackle them because they look small in your eye. This is one of the ways we trick our minds to achieve things. When things look small, you'll be like, I can do this in 5 minutes. Let me just do it. But when it looks so big, you're like, this is going to take me like 3 hours. I don't have 3 hours now to dedicate to this. Let me do it tomorrow. I'll do it first thing in the morning tomorrow. First thing in the morning, other things come in. And you're not able to do it first thing in the morning. Okay, so that is that. Take small baby steps. Take small steps. Break your tasks down into small bits. Have a to-do list. I was taught something recently, even as I'm talking about this to-do list. I remember that I was taught to not just have a to-do list, but to have a to-don't list. It sounds funny, but your to-do list are the things you need to do every day. Each day as you wake up or in the night, is up to you. Before you sleep, you prepare your to-do list for the next day. These are the tasks I need to do tomorrow, if you're doing it in the night, in order to achieve so and so by the end of the day. That is your to-do list. Then you have your to-don't list. And that is, forget whether to-don't makes sense as in grammatical sense. Forget it. Just take it like that. Your to-don't list is the list of things you will not do. You will not do these things today in order to achieve your tasks. For example, you have a lot of things you need to do. One of the things that will be on your to-don't list is that I will not sit on social media for 3 hours. I will not be checking WhatsApp, checking Instagram, checking Facebook for 3 hours. That is a to-don't to put on your list for the day because you need to achieve A, B, C, D. That is on your to-do list. So your to-don't list goes with your to-do list. I was taught this by Pastor Favor Siri Wisdom, and since she said, the first day she said it, I laughed and fell on the ground laughing. I'm like, what is a to-don't list? But the more I thought about it, the more it made sense that when you have your to-do list, you have your to-don't list, which is what will I not do in order to achieve the things on my to-do list. So have a to-do list and also have a to-don't list. It will help. You will not procrastinate because these things need to get done. And because they are not much, most times, they are small things that you have penciled to achieve that day. You would probably tackle them immediately. Okay, so we've talked about have a to-do list. We've talked about take small steps. Take small steps. Break down your tasks into small, manageable bits. Break them down to small, manageable bits. In fact, the thing is that when you do that and you see yourself achieving all those little things, it gives you the bigger buzz than when you complete the task actually. Because let's assume you have 5 things on your to-do list. Because you have broken them down to smaller bits. You have those 5 things that you need to do today. Before you know it, you achieve the first one. You'll be like, okay, that's good. You achieved the second one. The endorphins, sure, that's what they call these feel-good hormones. They will begin to work in you. You'll be like, I did 2 things already, and it's barely 10 o'clock in the morning. Let me try the third one. You tackle it, you achieve it. You'll be hyped to keep doing more. And by the end of the day, you look at your to-do list. Even if you did only 4 out of the 5 things on that list, you will be hyped that I achieved 4 out of 5 items. Imagine when you now achieved everything on your list. You will truly be hyped. You will be happy. You will be encouraged. You will be like, I did this. I did this. Tomorrow you'll be ready, raring to go to face the next set of tasks to be done. Okay. The next thing we should do is to be careful when these thoughts of putting things off come. Because we think them first before we actually do it. They come as thoughts first. I can do this tomorrow. Do I really need to do it today? Catch that thought there and really examine it. Do you really need to put it off? Is it really something you can't do now? Catch it at that point and analyze it. When we analyze our thoughts, excuse me, when we analyze our thoughts, it helps us make better decisions, honestly. Because the act of analyzing your thoughts, do I really need to do this? Can I truly put this off? Or is it just that I'm being lazy at this moment? That act alone will make you most times attack that activity. You'll be like, it's like I'm being lazy. Let me try a little bit of it, even if I don't do everything right now. Let me just do a little bit of it. Okay. So recognize those warning signs. When those thoughts begin to come, analyze them. Analyze those thoughts that's telling you to put this off, that's telling you you can do this tomorrow. Analyze them and then take a step towards doing that thing. Even if it's a small step, take a step towards doing that task. Don't allow those thoughts of putting it off get the best of you. Now, this, we have to also put in this caveat here. You don't now overwork yourself because you don't want to put things off. That is another side of it. Because we don't want to put things off till tomorrow, we overload ourselves with activities. No. It has to be carefully thought out. That's why you analyze the thought. When the thought to procrastinate comes, analyze it. Sit with it for a second and figure out whether truly this activity needs to be postponed. Whether this activity needs to be postponed or it can be tackled right now. If for any reason it truly cannot be tackled right now, then tackle it later. But do analyze that thought. Don't just say, okay, let me just do it tomorrow. Don't also say, I can't postpone this, I need to do it now, without truly analyzing it, without truly figuring out within you if this can be done now. Miebaka, welcome. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. Okay, so that is another step in overcoming procrastination. Catch the thought at the thought level. When the thought to procrastinate comes, catch it at that point and analyze it. That way, you will definitely not procrastinate if it is something that should be done now. Another thing that can help us eliminate procrastination is when we get rid of distractions as we work. This is part of what I talked about when I said we should have a to-don't list. Whereas we have a to-don't list. Get rid of distractions. The things that should be in your to-don't list are those things that distract you from achieving your goals, from completing your tasks. So there are things you should tell yourself, I should not do this. Because I have some things to achieve in my to-do list, Okay, so eliminate distractions, whatever it may be. It could be anything. Distractions can be anything. It can be your phone. It can be social media. It can be friends. Whatever. Eliminate distractions. Get rid of them. It is doable. It is doable. Get rid of distractions as much as possible. When you're doing a task, when you have something to complete, when you have something to finish, get rid of distractions. That way you will not even be tempted to put off because you're in the zone. You're working, you're getting things done, you're in the zone, you're doing the needful. Okay? All right. So I think the last thing I will talk about in the area of procrastination and how to overcome it is to, I think I've said this in just about everything I've talked about. Celebrate the little wins. We don't appreciate the effect of celebrating the small wins. We really don't appreciate it. We think until it's finished, until we have achieved the main thing, that is when we can celebrate. No, celebrate the small wins. When you finish an item on your to-do list, celebrate it. And when I say it doesn't mean you come and go and pop champagne now because you want to celebrate your wins. No, you just, appreciate that you have done something. You have achieved something. Celebrate the small wins. Congratulate yourself. Congratulate yourself for this one that you have done. Congratulate yourself. You've achieved the second thing on your to-do list. Congratulate yourself. Pat yourself on the back, as they say. We find this difficult to do, including me. As I'm talking to you, I'm talking to myself because I truly don't know how to pat myself on the back. But I'm learning it. I'm learning it because it's not easy to have 5 things on your to-do list and you achieve 2. It's not even easy to achieve 1, talk less of 2. There are people that have a to-do list of 5 items and at the end of the day, they achieved nothing. So it's not a small feat. Celebrate it. Celebrate it. Congratulate yourself for achieving that one item, for doing that one task. Congratulate yourself. Pat yourself on the back. This does not also mean that you celebrate inanities. No, you celebrate reasonable things. You had 5 items on your to-do list and you achieved 2. Celebrate it. It is something. You achieved the 3rd one. Celebrate it. You did something. You achieved the 4th one. Celebrate it. It is something. Don't see it as just a small thing. There is no small achievement. There's really no small achievement. An achievement is an achievement. Celebrate it as such. And that is truly the beauty of breaking down your tasks into small bits. Because you see, when you celebrate number 1, the joy, the motivation, the feelings that come with achieving number 1 will push you into number 2. And before you know it, you achieve number 2. And like that. And it keeps growing. You do 3, 4, 5 until you achieve everything on your list. So there is truly no reason to procrastinate. There is no justification. Let me not say reason. There is no justification to procrastinate. There is no justification to leave what you should do today for tomorrow. There's no justification. More especially when you now take, let's assume, for example, I have 3 things I wanted to do today. And I'm like, I'll do them tomorrow. I carry them over to tomorrow. And they go and meet the 2 that I'm supposed to do tomorrow, making them 5. Now I am stressed because I'm trying to meet up achieving 5 instead of just 2 that you would have been. I'm now struggling to meet up 5 tasks or 5 items because I procrastinated yesterday. No. Don't put yourself in that situation. Don't give yourself that extra work. Just go ahead, break your tasks down, tackle them as small as they are, tackle the small bits, take those small steps, tackle the small ones, go step by step, one foot in front of the other, and before you know it, you have gone far. You have gone far. Okay, so that is, what is the time? Okay, yeah. I think I will end today's session right here. I hope we've been able to gain something from it. Funny enough, yes, I have a bone to pick with everyone. In fact, this bone is for all. I did not show up here last week and nobody even wondered why. Unlike before, I still remember those early days when we started Growth Habits. Any day that I don't show up, either somebody sending me a DM or sending a message, I didn't see you, what happened? Nobody asked. I'm pained a little bit that all of you do not ask of me when you did not see me. And I didn't even put up a notice. I didn't put up anything to say, oh, Growth Habits will not happen today. We will take it next. Nobody, nothing. That is not good. That is not good of us. So please, when next, if I don't intend to not be here any other day, but in case, just ask. And I know you knew why I'm not talking to you. You know why I was not here. I'm not talking to you. So I'm talking to every other person that did not know why. Kelechi knows why I was not here, so I'm not talking to her either. Every other person that usually watches both live and the replays, when you saw one whole session was missing. You did not ask. Okay, but it's okay. I'm not pained. I'm not really pained. It's just life happens. One of those things, life happens. And unfortunately, where I was, I really couldn't quickly send a message to tell us, oh, the session will not hold today, and maybe fix another day for it. And there was even no day I could actually truly fix within that last week. A lot of things were happening at that period. So I just had to do it today. All right. So thank you all once again for joining me. I don't take your time for granted. I always say this, and it might look like I'm just saying it for the sake of saying it, but I truly don't take it for granted. You could have been doing anything with this 1 hour, but you choose to come online to join me live. You choose to come on later and watch. Honestly, the people that watch the replay are more than the people that join live. I've come to know that, because I've even on Sunday, somebody also mentioned, oh, I watched your session. I'm like, really? You know? So somebody also asked me recently, how do you get the motivation? See this word motivation to keep going. Sometimes when I check, it's just 2 people that joined you live. I laughed. I thought that it's not about the people that joined me live. It's about the people that watch it after. Because I've had people that I didn't even know on Facebook. Honestly, I didn't think they are Facebook people. Meet me somewhere and, well, I saw your session the other day. It helped me through this. So I will keep coming on. I will keep coming here every Tuesday unless, something absolutely makes it impossible for me to be here. Every Tuesday with the live sessions. Within the week, I'll drop a video. I'll try as much as possible to drop the Monday motivations, Sunday inspirations, any other thing that comes to mind. I will keep dropping it because I know that people are being touched somehow. People are receiving something from these sessions, from these few words. Sometimes I don't even know where the things I say come from, but they're coming. So thank you all so much for joining me. Remember to follow us on all our social media handles. In fact, we are everywhere. We are on Instagram, Growth Habits with Ngozi. We are on Facebook here. This is my own Facebook page. We also have the Growth Habits page, the Growth Habits group. Join all. We're on TikTok, Growth Habits with Ngozi. We're on YouTube, Growth Habits with Ngozi. Just follow us on all our social media handles. Engage with the posts. Ask questions. Comment. Just engage with the post. Share with your friends. As you're learning and as you're gaining, share with your friends. Let them also join us every Tuesday. Let them also follow us on our social media handles. And I believe that we will make quick progress this 2024. That's why we started with hindrances, the things that can stop us. Let's get them out of the way in time so that in this year we will fly, we will soar, and we will make quick progress. So remember to make each day count, be valuable, and grow. See you next week, Tuesday, right here on Growth Habits with Ngozi. 12 noon is the time. All right. Thank you and have an awesome day. Bye.